Hello, everyone, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with Wendy Y. Bailey. I am indeed Wendy Y. Bailey, and I'm glad to see you guys here today. We're here every week in the 2 p.m. Eastern hour, typically on Thursdays, but today's Friday, and it's okay because some things took place yesterday, and I wasn't able to get here yesterday, but I'm here today and I'm excited to be here. You can look for episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at profitablecoachingconversations.com. If you miss anything, if you really want to check out some really great content, some actionable content that you can use today to grow your coaching business, go to profitablecoachingconversations.com. On Tuesdays, I interview and drop the episode for guests that have appeared on the show. And I've had some really amazing people that have joined me in conversation. And then on Thursdays, I do a bonus episode. So this is the live bonus episode that I host on Thursdays, on today, which is Friday. So welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to price your coaching programs for maximum profits. Okay. It's a topic that I really, really love talking about. It's actually a preview to my upcoming masterclass called Predictable Coaching Income. And we go into a little bit more detail than I do today, but today I'm going to give you some insight into what you've got to consider when you're pricing your programs, and your focus, your target, your goal is profitability. Okay. I'm Wendy Y. Bailey. Just a quick introduction. I'm a 19-year veteran business and sales coach, and I show coaches how to master business. That means infrastructure and systems and processes. It also means marketing, visibility, and non-traditional launch strategies and sales conversations, one to one to many. It also includes emotional promotional copy and email marketing. So there's a lot that I do and a lot that I talk about. If you're interested, I'd love for you to join the profitablecoachingsociety.com, profitablecoachingsociety.com. That is our private Facebook community. And in that community, they actually get to vote on the topics for the bonus episodes. So there's a poll out there right now, and the topic that seems to be racing toward the top of the list is the anatomy of an income producing activity. That should be fun to talk about. So look for that coming soon, probably next week, the way the voting is looking. So welcome. If you're here, be sure to grant StreamYard permission if you're on Facebook so that I can see who you are, wave at me, say hi, tell me that you're here. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and type hashtag replay. And if you have questions, post them, and I'll be more than happy to come back to the platforms and respond to your question. As a reminder, I'm live streaming on Facebook and my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, two of my Facebook groups, LinkedIn, and my Wendy Y. Bailey YouTube channel. So you can catch me in all of those places on Thursdays in the 2 p.m. Eastern hour for the bonus episode. So let's kind of jump in. This whole idea of pricing your coaching programs with profitability as your focus is something that I've been teaching specifically in this way for about 5 years. And I love talking about this topic because this is the best way, the easiest way to create long-term success, sustainability, what I call staying power in your coaching business. So the first thing you've got to know and have is ideal client clarity and the power of one. If you've been on any of my training programs or any of my lives, you know this is something that I'm really, really serious about. It's because I see and hear a lot of coaches who come to me and they say, why am I not able to find clients? Why am I getting clients who are not ready, willing, and able to pay what I've said is my fee? Well, the reality is you don't have those clients because you need to get very, very clear about who your ideal client is. I call it ideal client clarity and the power of one because we're talking one ideal client, one core problem, and one comprehensive solution. One ideal client, one core problem, and one comprehensive solution. When you think about your ideal client, there are three things you must know for pricing specifically. You need to know the gender of your ideal client. And yes, it is important that you declare a gender. People, you don't have to fear missing out when you say one gender or the other. What you want to do is be clear, and the clearer you are, the easier it is to language your message, to say what you need to say to appeal to that one gender. Doesn't mean you're going to leave people out. It means that you're clear on who you work with. If it's women, my ideal client is a woman. And because she's a woman, I talk to her like she's a woman. Okay. The second thing you need to know about your one ideal client demographics is her age range, and you need to create a span of no longer than 10 years. So if you're talking to a 35-year-old and you're talking to a 55-year-old, you're going to have different dialogue and different interaction with those two. So 10 years age span, and this is really, really, really important for looking at your ideal client, for looking at understanding how you set your pricing. And that is, you must know what kind of salary or what kind of income or what kind of revenue your ideal client has coming in. When you understand the revenue, when you understand the salary, the income, then you can actually begin the process of setting fees based on what you know your most ideal client can afford. So if you're popping on and you're joining me, I'm talking about what you need to consider when you are pricing your programs for profit. So I talked about one ideal client. Let me talk about one core problem. Your clients come to you and they may have a number of challenges that they're facing, but you've got to be clear about which one problem you want to solve first. And when you look at the one problem you want to solve first, you get all of the yumminess around that problem. You understand how it's showing up in her life. You understand, what's happening that's caused this problem. Then you can create a really great, rich, comprehensive solution. That is your program. That is your product. That is your package. That is your service. Okay. So one ideal client, one core problem, and one comprehensive solution. That's how you do that. So let me say something about the next thing I want you to look at. You've also got to have a well-defined program or programs. Well-defined. Most people go into creating a program sometimes in a vacuum. Now, I'm a build the plane as I fly girl. If you've been around me, you know that's what I say all the time. What I'm saying when I say that to you is, rather than build your comprehensive solution, your program in a vacuum, build it as a solution to the problem your ideal client has presented. And then when you look at the problem, when you look at the solution, when you look at your program, it means that you can make it really, really rich. And here's a way to make it really, really rich. It's well defined when you understand the program type. Do it yourself, done with you, or done for you are three types of programs. Do it yourself, done with you, and done for you are three types of programs. The one thing I want to say about this actual point is, do it yourself does not necessarily mean free. Okay. Just because they are self-paced programs, just because the ideal client is walking through the content on their own, does not make it any less valuable for them. You're still giving them great value, and you can charge for that, right? And you can charge more than, $47 for it. You can charge more than $147 for it. I have a program that is all DIY. It's a digital bundle download. They can listen, they can watch, they can walk through the content. And I have one program, again, I want to say it's like $9.97 or something like that. And that's $997. So just because it's DIY does not mean free. Okay. The other thing I want to say is, when you start getting into access to you in the done with you programs, like your one-on-one coaching, your group coaching programs, your masterminds, your signature courses, when you start getting into the done with you, the client has access to you. And because the client has access to you, there is a higher price point, because they're paying for that access to your expertise, to your intellectual property, to what you know, what you say, to learning and growing with you as a subject matter expert. Done for you requires even more. right? When there's done for you, that means that they are doing the work, you're doing the work for them, right? And when you're doing the work for your clients, you're pouring your intellectual property into it, you're pouring your time into it, you're pouring resources. If you have a team that's doing the work for them, all of that really, really does make a difference when you are setting your fees. So, DIY, done with you, done for you. You want to make sure you know what type of program it is. The richest programs, the richest solutions that you create are a hybrid of all three of these. There's a little bit of DIY, there's a little bit of DWY, there's a little bit of DFY. So think about that as you're creating your comprehensive solution or your program for your most ideal client. Okay. The next thing you want to know around this in particular is you've got to also know the type of income. Is it active? Does it require you to be part of that whole equation? Or is it passive, meaning that you sell it and it's something that people buy while you're asleep? You make money while you're asleep. You need to know that. You also need to know what your model is for creating maximum value. That means you're looking at all the ways that you're bringing value into clarification about your program. Okay, when you understand that your price is really based on value, you get to design a model for value. And in the upcoming masterclass, I give you a model for value. Okay, I give you a model for value. Then the third thing I want to tell you about is your program should help you focus on income producing activities or IPAs. Okay. Income producing activities are daily, weekly, and monthly activities that move your business forward. Daily, weekly, and monthly activities that move your business forward. When you have clarity about what's an income producing activity and what's not, then you're spending time on the right activities and it's not just busy work. Okay. You've got to focus on income producing activities if you're serious about gaining some traction in terms of growth and profitability and your ability to scale. Okay. Then the next thing I want to say, I've got one more point after this, is you got to understand value. You got to have real clarity about value. And there are three types of value. These are WendyY definitions of value: financial value, business value, and lifetime value. Financial value, business value, and lifetime value. When you think of financial value, think of that as tied to numbers, right? It's increases, it's decreases, it's losses, it's gains, it's, reduction of something. It's also a return on investment. That's tied to numbers, right? So when you're talking about your program offering financial value, you get to talk about it in terms of numbers. You get to say there's a return on investment for this. I had someone who went through the last master class and she said, working with me, going through the master class, changing her pricing and setting fees for her packages, netted her 4 times her investment in the program, in the master class. That's a financial value that she was able to put numbers to, right? She was able to put numbers to that. And I love that she shared that it netted her that kind of income, that kind of return. Business value is about efficiency and effectiveness. It's about, where you're getting better, how you're growing better. It can feel subjective, but your client can actually say, I'm 70% more productive than I was. I did have a client that said that to me. So it's numbers when you think of the 70%, but it's really about efficiency and effectiveness. I'm getting a lot more done. My business is running more smoothly. I've streamlined what I do, and there's a clarity to my message in the marketplace. All of that is a business value. Those are words and phrases that represent business value. Then the last type of value that I like to talk about is understanding lifetime value. And that's a little bit harder to put your finger on, but the more you serve clients, the more you will hear your catchphrases, your isms coming back to you. One of the catchphrases that I hear from a lot of people that came from me is I charge for that. I charge for that, for the most powerful selling words you can ever know. And it's not about the words, it's about the spirit of those words. The spirit of those words say, hey, I know what I'm offering in the marketplace has value. And based on that value, I want to be compensated for the value that I'm able to provide, right? So, whatever your catchphrases are, whatever your isms are, over time, your clients will recognize you as the source, the origin of whatever that catchphrase is. And based on that, the origin of those catchphrases, they'll equate lifetime value because you're the one who gave it to them, right? So you got to know the type of value. When you know the type of value, then you can articulate that value in the marketplace more reasonably. And I gave you plenty of examples before. The next thing you want to know is the dollar value of your program. You got to know what goes into it, what kind of resources, what kind of production costs. And the big one that I see most people miss is understanding what they bring to the program in terms of value. When you understand what you're bringing in terms of your experience, your expertise, everything that has brought you here today, it totally makes a difference. Totally makes a difference. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to say about value is understanding the value of your intellectual property. I touched on it just a second ago, but you've got to be able to put a number to that. There's got to be a minimum amount you charge for your intellectual property in any program. Now, let me say this. Once you identify the type of value, the dollar value, and the value of your intellectual property, as long as you don't change any elements of the program, the value is fixed. Excuse me, the value is fixed. Value doesn't change. What changes is the price. And price change in conjunction with your courage. Price is directly tied to your courage and your confidence in yourself and what you believe you're bringing in the way of value. Okay. So identify that number and then you can actually set a fee. Once you set a fee, you can create a predictable coaching income plan. That means that you know when you're going to launch certain programs, you know how many you want to sell, and based on that, you can actually tie it to your calendar and know that you're going to have X number of dollars that will come in from a program that you're launching. I also, in the masterclass, give you benchmarks because I think that when you have benchmarks or three different kinds of goals, then you can adjust your visibility and marketing strategy to adapt to your goals to be sure that you're more on track to achieve your goals more specifically. So, these 6 points that I've been giving you are all about the masterclass that I have coming up. If you're watching this, I want you to know that the next one is coming up next week. There is another one coming up after that. But the way you find out about it is to book a 15-minute session with me. It's the one time you don't have to pay for coaching with me. We're going to spend 15 minutes. I'm going to get to know you. We're going to talk about the masterclass. If it is a good fit for you, that's what we'll do. But you can book your 15 minutes with me at growwithwendy.com. That's growwithwendy.com. As a reminder, if you're catching the replay, go ahead and type hashtag replay to let me know you were here. If you somehow have missed any episode, you can go to profitablecoachingconversations.com and you can see all of the episodes posted right there on the website, profitablecoachingconversations.com. As a reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to join the Profitable Coaching Society at profitablecoachingsociety.com. That's a private Facebook community filled with coaches, speakers, trainers, consultants who have businesses just like yours, and they're learning, they're growing, they have access to content and resources right there in the community. So profitablecoachingsociety.com is where you can go for that. Just as a recap, let me tell you that the first thing you need to know about pricing your programs for maximum profit is you got to have ideal client clarity and the power of one. That means one ideal client, one core problem, and one comprehensive solution. The next thing you've got to have is you've got to have well-defined programs or programs. That means you've got to know what type of program it is. Is it a do-it-yourself, a done with you, or done for you? And the richest, highest value programs are a hybrid of all three of those program types. And remember that DIY does not necessarily mean free. Okay, still has value. You still need to know that. You also need to know the type of income, because when you understand the type of income your program offers, I'm sorry, yeah, the type of income your program offers, you know whether you need to be involved in selling it and delivering it, or if it's or active, or if it's something that people can purchase, download while you sleep. That makes it passive. That gives you a sense of what kind of effort you're going to put into delivering the program. The next thing you need to know is you need to understand your model for maximum value. I give you a formula in the master class, and you get to sort of really see how value shows up in your program. And when you understand how value shows up in your program, it can go a long way. I mean, a long, long way to helping you price it at an adequate level. Then the third thing I'll say is you got to be able to focus on income producing activities. These are daily, weekly, and monthly activities that move your business forward. When you focus on the wrong kinds of activities, you end up not gaining traction on growth, on sales, on income, on profits. So you've got to learn how to focus on the right activities. Those are income producing activities. The next thing I talked about was you've got to have clarity about value. Clarity about value means you understand the value type. Is it financial, related to numbers? Is it business, related to efficiency? Or is it lifetime value, connected to your isms and your catchphrases? You also want to know the dollar value. You can consider everything that goes into it, and once you get the tally of that, you understand what that total is. You can actually see what it really is taking for you to produce that program. Then you also need to recognize the value of your intellectual property. You bring a wealth of experience. And what I see people who come to me in this masterclass think is you don't always recognize the value of your intellectual property. If you thought of it, it's yours. If it's original, it came from you. That's your intellectual property. That has value. So everything you've ever experienced goes into how you think about your intellectual property. I also believe that there's a minimum you must charge in terms of value. You must assign in terms of value for anything and everything you touch based on your intellectual property and what you're bringing to the program. Then finally, once you understand all of these pieces, you can put together a predictable coaching income plan that is tied to your calendar, so you can now know what kind of money you're going to make in January, know what kind of money you're going to make in February, March, on a monthly basis, ongoing basis, because of the goals that you set in your plan, and because of how well defined your programs are, you know exactly what to do to price your programs for maximum profit. I've been talking about this as a preview to Predictable Coaching Income. It's a masterclass that I'm teaching. It's coming up. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to growwithwendy.com, book a 15-minute session with me. I would like to talk to people because I want to make sure it's the right kind of program for you. It's only for 15 coaches, and right now there are only 8 spots left in the next one that's coming up. So if you want to get ahead, if you want to be able to price your programs, packages, services, and products well into the future, from now on, you want to be part of that. And the way to be part of that is to sign up for that 15-minute session with me at growwithwendy.com. Thanks so much for being here. I will look forward to seeing you in another bonus episode in the future. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.